Now, I love digging through aviation history and finding small and often forgotten airlines, especially of those big network carriers that have had an astonishing amount of subsidiaries throughout the years. So when I came across this little airline, I never thought there would be an aircraft model of it, well, until Herpa announced it in Scale 200. And when then the FMB shop had an incredible sale during their Cyber Monday sale, I just had to get this model. So yes, most definitely this review has been made possible thanks to the amazing prices of the FMB shop. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an ATR42-300 of KLM XL. At the front of the box we have a lovely image of the aircraft in real life, and above that we find the KLM XL branding. When we then take a look at the backside of the box, we can see the image once more. It is worth mentioning that this is a limited edition, but I think the most noteworthy thing is simply the box design itself, where we still have, well, images of the aircraft, something I thought when listening to Herpa was just impossible, but in Scale 200 it still is possible. Before we go any further into today's review, it is worth mentioning that this aircraft model comes with this extraordinary high quality piece of plastic. Well, it's a stand with a little print on, but hey, come on. By now we are used to from other manufacturers to get stands out of wood or metal, but Herpa continues to revert to cheap plastic. And here she is, the ATR42-300 in the standard livery of KLM XL. Now, you might rightly never have heard anything about the airline, and in that case, well, it was originally started as Air XL Commuter in 1991, and as of 1998, it was operating under the KLM XL brand until 2004, and then by 2005, the airline was closed down. It mainly operated scheduled services out of Eindhoven and Maastricht-Aachen Airport. So now that is settled, let's figure out what the aircraft model has to offer. And we start our tour around the aircraft model with a look at the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the KLM branding. On the ATR, the horizontal stabilizer is of course mounted on top of the vertical stabilizer, and Herpa is doing a pretty solid job with the detailing of that part of the aircraft. On the fuselage, we then find the flag of the European Union and the full registration code of the aircraft. Next to the cabin door, we then also have the KLM Northwest branding or logo. These two airlines had a very close relationship over the years. Today it's of course Delta Airlines. Then next to the cabin door we also have the specification operated by Air XL, and underneath that we find the Dutch flag, and we have some lovely detailing at the cabin door. And towards the very tail of the aircraft we also find this little detail, which is supposed to resemble a strobe / precision light. Now if we move to the front of the aircraft following the grey metallic sheet line, we find the KLM XL branding. We also have some lovely static ports printed on, and of course the ATR has its main cargo hatch at the front of the cabin. This has also been printed on here. Next to that we find a lovely bit of small, well, black lines indicating some writing. I have no clue what it says, but it looks quite lovely. Behind that we then find the emergency exit printed on, that we find also on the other side of the fuselage. The cockpit section itself then comprises of the cockpit windows, of course, with the window wipers, but we also have some fairly lovely detailing around the array dome, and also some petrol tubes have been printed on, looking really quite nice. If we look above the cockpit windows, we also find the emergency hatch for the cockpit has been printed on. So overall, a really lovely amount of detailing here. The engine nacelles have been kept in white, just as the belly of the aircraft, but we also here find a lovely amount of both physical and printed detailing on them. And in Scale 500, Herpa is known to make movable blades on their ATRs, and this is a feature we also find with their ATRs in Scale 200. From the engines we can move on to the top-mounted wings, and overall I think Herpa does a fairly good job with them. Some of the physical detailing, however, is slightly drowned away by the white base color. That is a little bit of a shame. The underside of the wings, however, I think has a lovely amount of physical detailing as well as printed details. Here we also find the full registration code of the aircraft once again. Now with the landing gear, I think Herpa has done a fairly solid job. I mean, it looks really rather nice. It's made mainly out of metal. We have some lovely wheel caps, except of course for the wheels themselves, they are made out of plastic. We also have some printed details, which is always nice, and a feature that I personally don't really need, but I know is requested by many collectors, is the fact that it is rolling. And since we are looking at the belly of the aircraft, we can also notice here a lovely amount of printed details and a hole in the fuselage. But as we have a stand included with this aircraft model, it does make sense and it doesn't destroy any printed details. So apart from the printed details here on the belly of the aircraft, we also have a physical antenna, which I think Herpa has executed really rather well. A physical antenna we can also find on top of the fuselage next to more lovely printed details. But should you be a bit nervous about the physical antennas, they can often be a little bit flimsical. Don't worry here, Herpa has made them solid as a rock. So there we have it, the ATR42-300 in the standard livery of KLM XL from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 200. And what can we say about this aircraft model? Now, firstly, I'm just happy that Herpa has made such a model. I know this is not the model for the big masses. It won't hit every collector's collection, but every now and then dropping something like this I think is just fine, especially in scale 200. But what do you get? I mean, the official retail on release was 70 euros, which is too much, let's be honest. The good thing about this model is, of course, that Herpa has made it entirely out of metal. This has to be mentioned because in scale 200, Herpa Wings to this day with their wide bodies are still making them in plastic, which is ridiculous and can't compete with any other manufacturers in that segment. But their small narrow bodies are made out of metal, that's a good thing. The print overall is also really excellent, but it's not worth 70 euros. That's really the main issue I have with this aircraft model is the official retail price. If you can get it at a good discount and you, like me, like these small niche airlines, then for sure it is worth having in one's collection, but only with a very good discount I can recommend this model. But what are your thoughts on this aircraft model? Have you ever heard about this airline? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And with that, we have reached the end of today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like. That really does help out the channel. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. And with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for having watched today's video. I'm checking out, and bye.